Welcome back to another episode of Izzy's Retro Video Game Reviews, man. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Like, subscribe, share, and all that stuff. I'll mention that again at the end. But man, here on this series, I talk about. I don't really review retro video games. I just that just sounded pretty cool. But I do talk about my memories that I have playing certain games and playing certain games from when I grew up, and the time frame surrounding those games, and like what was happening in my life at the time. So I really try to correlate video games and life stories combined into one neat little package with this series, man. And today I'm going to be talking about WCW versus the World. Now, I've done WCW World Tour and WCW NWO Revenge on this channel, and also WCW Mayhem. But this is a game that kind of started it all for WCW video games in the 97, 96, 97 almost attitude era, as they like to call it, or in this case we're going to refer to it as the Monday Night War era. So 96, 97, 98. This is the kind of the game that started it all in that era, at least on the American side of things. I know on the Japanese side of things they had virtual pro wrestling. But on the American side of things, before WCW and NWO World Tour and Revenge, there was WCW versus the World. It came out on September 13th, 1996, for PlayStation 1. That was the only system it came out for. And, I remember renting it from Blockbuster when it first came out, but I didn't really get my hands on it for my own copy until 1 year later. So the summer of 1997. I know I told you guys the story about me going to sleepaway camp. I'll put a link in the description. I'll put the video at the end of the description for this one. Put the video so you can check out that story. But so that story was that kind of directly led to me getting the game in a way, because of the tough experiences that my brother Gus and I went through at sleepaway camp. We ended up getting a whole bunch of video games and a new system to kind of make up for the terrible experiences that we had there. But yeah, and this was one of the games that I got, WCW versus the World, and um, I just remember popping it in, man, and being blown away by the 3D graphics. At that time, you couldn't get any better than WCW versus the World in terms of graphics. And I just remember, man, just opening it and having so many wrestlers to choose from. Just not just the WCW guys, like your base WCW roster like Ultimo Dragon, Ric Flair, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Sting, Lex Luger, all those guys. But you also had Hulk Hogan, Flair, all those guys. But you also had Japanese guys. The Great Muta was in there. Uh, uh, fucking like Toshi Onita, they were all in there, but they were under different names because Jushin Thunder Liger was in there, but they were all under different names because WCW didn't have the New Japan license, or All Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling license to use the characters' real names. So you had their likenesses in there, and they would play like the real characters, but they weren't able to use their real names. So And as for gameplay, it's very basic. You know, you had your one-on-one match, you had your tag team matches, but that's about it. You didn't have any six mans, eight mans, because at that time it would have been very difficult to pull off with the as powerful as it was for the time. You weren't able to pull off, you know, 6 man, 8 man tag team matches in video games until much later on, till the technology got better and you were able to fit those many characters on screen at the same time. But yeah, no, for what it was a very good game. I had a lot of fun memories with it, and I remember. Um, I remember when you did the championship mode, you had to I believe when you beat championship mode, you got to unlock the giant, aka, you know, the Big Show. In look He looked nothing like him, but hey, you know, he was still cool to play with and cool to unlock and everything like that. And you could create your own titles and put your titles on the line with your friends and everything like that. And it was pretty damn cool. I remember playing with my brother for hours on that, uh, and just having a real good time, man. Real fond memories of playing WCW versus the World. Excuse me. Man, and I'll never forget it. Just like I grew up. I grew up, and I still am a huge wrestling fan to this day. So anytime I get the chance to talk about wrestling video games, I'm gonna jump on it. Of course, and I can do this all day, every day, talking about various wrestling video games. As you can see, or you will see if you check out my playlist, you or or you have been checking out my retro reviews playlist. I've covered a lot of wrestling video games, but yeah. So great game. Good memories. My favorite character to play with was on the WCW side of things was was Sting, man, because at that time he was, you know, he was still Surfer Sting, you know, with the face paint and everything like that, but he was slowly transitioning into like Crow Sting, black and white, and back then, man, I was a huge fan of Sting's Crow gimmick, and also, I love playing with Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You know, the NWO was like the NWO had the whole angle with the NWO, and Hulk Hogan joining just happened 2 months earlier at Bash at the Beach. 2 months before the release of this game, and it was cool that they were able to get his NWO attire into the game before the game released, and also like playing with the Great Muda, which in one of my favorite Japanese wrestlers. Just there's so many. I think the roster's like 80 wrestlers or something like that, all in total. It's just an insane amount of wrestlers and an insane amount of fun. But yeah, that is gonna do it for this episode of Izzy's Retro Video Game Reviews. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.